property. So we're going to be able to get together and sign the paperwork, move forward with that pretty soon. And a buyer that I have wants to put in an offer on a rental property.
Very good. Okay. Okay. Who else? Wins, shout outs, or where you saw our team values exhibited?
Hey, Wes, I got something.
Go ahead.
I've got there's a new member on our team. I guess newer within the first month or two. Her name's Malaysia. And I don't know if she's on the call this morning because she had to do something else. But she completed 1,000 dials yesterday. She sat down for 5 or 6 hours and completed a 1,000 dial day. And another member of our team, Jordan Kitchen, he had his first closing this week. So,
Woohoo! Congratulations, Jordan. I see you on the call. So good job.
Awesome. I had a good follow-up. This is like an expired, but they kept kind of responding to me. It's good. It's in a high rise downtown Nashville. And so, you know, they were concerned about loyalty for their previous agent. And so I feel like I was able to kind of talk that through with them. And that felt like there was a good connection. Like, so anyway, I think that's important to kind of not try to bash people out of transactions, but just figure out, hey, let's try to work together on this and get this solved. So
Good deal. Okay. All right. Give me 2 gratitudes and we're gonna get started here because I got a lot to share with you guys today. Preston, what about you?
Hey, what's up, Wes? Man, I'm just grateful for another day, and I'm grateful for Dunkin' Donuts, man, giving me some energy to make my prospecting calls.
I am with you on the big DD there. Super excited about that. Okay. One more gratitude, we'll get started. Jordan or Zach?
What you got, Zach?
Good morning. Good morning. I just wanted to give a quick gratitude because, it's a new day. It's very bright outside, a little bit rainy, but, it's a new day to continue prospecting for business, making things happen. So I'm always grateful for a new opportunity.
Very good. Love it. Love it. Love it. Hey, I want to share some numbers. You know that Keller Williams had their big national convention, and Gary always brings lots and lots of value when he does that. So I want to talk about the numbers and how they translate to us as far as what we're coming in to see, because there's a lot of positive stuff. A lot of people are looking at the negative part of it, but there's actually a lot of positive stuff coming up. So one of the things we want to do is why we need to know our numbers and why we should do that. And the things I'm going to talk about are going to be home sales, home prices, months of supply of inventory, mortgage rates, affordability, and then a few other things which will actually directly impact, how we look at our business and grow it. So the first thing I want to do is take a look at the home sales, and you can kind of see this is a graph from 1990 up till last year, and you can see the number of home sales here. And you can see that when you go all the way over to the side, there were 5 million home sales, which means there are 10 million sides to that then, because you got a buyer and a seller side. And again, this is all going to be recorded. You can see it on Tennessee Power Up. And I've also got a link later in the presentation for all these numbers and a whole lot more for all of Gary's slides. Okay. So you guys can look at those. So don't worry about needing to take pictures of anything that you want to look at later or anything. You guys can access that. But the neat part about this is you can see that we were down almost 18% to last year in 2020. And you're going, that's a big drop. But when you still look at it, I mean, it's still about one of the 10 best years that we've ever had. So, I mean, still very, very good about that, even though they were down. Now, the next slide I want to show you is the monthly seasonal adjustable. Look at what happened the last part of the year in 2020 or 2022. See how the number, this is seasonally adjusted per average, but you can see we started to see that drop off hit in that March, April, and just look at how it just plummeted. We already had some sales up, but you can see how it just plummeted down from there. And I think that's what a lot of people are looking at now. Now, the good news is, here's the great news. The price of the homes has gone up still tremendously, and we don't anticipate too much to change about that. Typically, we see about a 4% rise year over year on appreciation. And you can see that we are well above that. That was about 12% above trend in 2022. And we still look to have a great part about that this year too. It's going to be down slightly, but not that much. And Nashville is very well insulated against that. Now, if you look at annual appreciation, you can kind of see where that impacted. I mean, typically we see that 4% when we went through the recession back in 2008. You can see it started in 2006 through 11, because you can see we actually went down in our appreciation. And then you saw we started getting that back up. And you can see that 2021 was just crazy, 18% appreciation. And in 2022, it's still 10%. We anticipate 23 is only going to go down 1% nationwide. Huge, huge difference. But again, we're going to sit there and feel it that it's different from last year. But still, when you look at it, our average home sale is still well above anything we've ever experienced. Now, the total market volume, this is interesting too. Even though we project in this year to be down, it will still be our third best year ever in market volume. Now, one of the other things we're going to talk about a little bit later is, see at the top, you'll see agent count. Back in 1990, we had 769,000. Then you can see in 2005, we had 1.3 million. We hit the recession. We dropped down to 1 million in 2011. We're now at 1.6 million agents. That we know there's been a lot of agents come on board. Some of us are part of that graphic there. But when you look at that total volume, we're going to talk about that in just a second. But look at the inventory part of it. This is months of inventory on hand. And you can see that our months of inventory on hand was very low in 2021. But in 2022, you can see we started edging back up to about 3 months of inventory on hand. And what that did is it put us more in a balanced market rather than in a seller's market. When inventory is low, like when we're under 2 months of inventory on hand nationwide, that means we're in a seller's market. As we start to get to that 3 to 6 months, 6 months is more of a buyer's market. 3 months is going to be more of a balanced market. And that's kind of where we're trending right now. Now, this is a part that's interesting with the number of agents come on board. Typically, agents have averaged between 7 and 10 transactions each. Okay. We saw that drop in 2022 to 6 transactions per agent. So it's going to be, how do we get our fair share? And we're going to be investigating that. But you can see with the number of agents, you can see how that dropped. And the key thing to always remember is when times are good, people use their friends to help sell and buy their homes. When times get tough, they go for a skilled professional. And it's always the case because they can't take the chance that they want to help their friend out. It's something where they need to make certain it happens, and it happens at a high level. But you can see at 6.3%, that's not where we want to be on the average. Now, your volume per agent, this is one of the good news though, is still 3.2 million. So even though it was 6 transactions each, I mean, it was still going to be one of the third best years in volume per agent that we've ever seen because of our appreciation we've enjoyed.
Take your friggin' turn.
Isn't that amazing? Hey, mute yourself there driving.
Sorry.
So the other part is mortgage rates. Mortgage rates are starting to go up. And if you look at year over year mortgage rates, you can see we are still historically low on that. And this is what it's been as far as after 2022. You can see we're getting into 2023 here. And we're at the 6.96%, which when you just go back to 2016, man, that seems high. But again, it's nothing compared to what it has been before. Now, I don't think you're ever going to see a 2% or a 3% mortgage rate in our lifetime now, but I still think it's something that you just want to talk them through that. It's still a great time to buy. Some of the people are going to be very resistant about selling their home because they're giving up a 2% interest rate and going to swap it out for a 5 or 6%. So these are some of the challenges that we're going to run into. And then on housing affordability, this is another one with the inflation index that we've got. You can see what that's done to our housing affordability. Typically, we want to be right around that, even that line right there you see. And housing has been very affordable. It has actually been cheaper to buy than it is to rent for years. And you can see now that edged up last year to where now it's actually cheaper to rent than to buy. The bad part about that is they're making a short-term decision. And we still have so many great programs here in Tennessee where our lenders, partners can help them with down payment and also can help them with closing costs. Now, BKC Mortgage, I talked to Jonathan Miller on Envoy, the new mortgage company that we're acquiring. That one will be able to do some of the Tennessee, the THDA type loans. So that is going to help us out tremendously on some of the things. However, if you've got great mortgage partners, by all means use them, because it really gets down to, we want to help people get into the homes that they want. So what our plan is after we look at these numbers is we need to, and it's been the same thing as what Ben and Chris have talked about, is double down on our lead generation, double down on our lead follow-up, use technology to aid us in that follow-up, double down in our sphere, and also double down in skill development, because I'm going to show you some more numbers that dictate that. One of the things on the agent panel yesterday that Maria talked about, she did 62 transactions last year, and also Anthony, and they broke down their numbers. They said, sometimes, when I'm calling people right now, it is 6 to 12 calls before I get the appointment. And then after I get the appointment, before they list, it is 8 to 10 more contacts. So it's 14 to 22 contacts before they actually get the listing. And Anthony told one story where the guy actually signed up in his website 10 years ago. And he just listed, and he's also buying with him. But that's just the epitome as far as follow-up. But our Rivety use that we have really is going to aid us in that follow-up. So knowing what our numbers are and making certain that we follow up is going to be key. And I want to show you why now. New listings, you can see new listings are down because we all felt the inventory go down because people aren't getting those outrageous prices now for them that they were before, as far as, so much over asking. So we've seen new listings drop, and you can see it right there in the graph. The next part is first-time home buyers is 26%, and that's the lowest it's been in years since they started recording it back in 2000. But it's still 26%. It is still a large part of the people that are coming to buy homes. Typically, that is in that 36 to 40% range. But you can see 26%. The biggest reason that's been down is because they don't think they have the money for a down payment. And that gets back to us as business people to make certain that we're educating them to help them know that they can afford the home. And they do have programs out there in the state of Tennessee where they can overcome the down payment and also the closing cost. This is also something we've seen, the weeks in home search go back up to about 10 weeks. So I don't want you guys to get frustrated when you're actually showing people homes. It may take a little bit longer with inventory being down, They're going to be more selective because their interest rates are higher, so they're paying more per month for that home. So they want to make certain it's the right home. So keep that in mind as far as in the home search. So if it's 10 weeks, I mean, it's 2.5 months or could be. So again, that's going to be key for you guys. Just stay focused on it. And again, having that grit where we get them to the finish line. Now, the first step in the home buying process, and you can see where people are still looking online, and that's actually jumped from 40% to 50%. People are getting more and more in tune to looking online. Contacting a real estate agent is still right around 20%. Bank or mortgage lender is at 7%. Looked online for information about the buying process. This really shocked me. That dropped down to 6%. A lot of people are not carried about the process. They're just looking at the homes right now, and they're going to figure out the rest later. So again, this is going to be key for our buyer presentations when we walk them through as far as what those steps are. Many agents won't be doing that because they're the other times before they were doing the research, but more and more people are looking online now, and they're using mobile devices like their cell phones. So how the buyers found their agents. And you can see the referral list by friends and family is still high, but look how that's dropped off. It's dropped off 10% to 38%, where the year before it was 47%. And then also inquired about specific property viewed online. This is going to be key to our whole thing about listings, leverage, okay? Because if you've got listings, they're calling you, and you can see there's a significant jump in people calling the listing agent about the property. Also about websites, and this goes back to our IDX websites or valuation websites that we've got where we actually capture information. I know Command is not great about that. So they can't capture it and see, you know, where they're getting that information from. So this is really key that we do have those technology pieces. Now, the next one is buyer interviews. Buyers overwhelmingly went with the first or second agent they met. So you can see they only interviewed one agent is 67%, 2 is 17%. That's 84% of the people went with the first or second agent. So when you get a Quickly lead, when you get a IDX lead, it goes right back to speed to lead is still important. Some people are saying that's not as important anymore. I know Jeff Glover has said that, and that's not the case at all. This graph right here shows that 84% still talk to or still hire the first or second agent. And if you talk to them first, you're pleasant, they like you, they're going to use you because they don't want to have to go through a process like that. So again, understanding that you jump on those leads as soon as they come in is so key to your business. Now, this is interesting, how sellers found their agents, referred to by friend and neighbor. Again, that was down from 39 to 36, and the year before it was 41%. So that's down about 10% from where it has been in the past. Used agent previously to sell their home, that's remained pretty stable. Personal contact, you can see all the other numbers are pretty stable on that. But one of the things I think is interesting is how the sellers, what they think is important. Because their seller interviews, again, the first one, they've hired 80% of the time. This is why it's so key to set appointments when you get an expired, when you get a FSBO lead, because if you're the first actual person that you're talking to them and you go through your listing presentation, you just go and talk to them, but you go through your listing presentation. If you're one of the first two, 90% of them end up signing with you. That's pretty huge, guys. But you have to get those appointments, and that goes back to that skill level. How do we get those appointments? Okay, and making certain we've got our scripts down. Anthony was great yesterday. His recording will be up on the agent panel. Make sure you view that if you missed it. And Maria had some great scripts, and so did Sarita. Now, the most important factors for sellers, 36% is reputation. And this has been consistent in that 36 to 35% is what they consider most important. And I want you guys to consider your reputation. You are the #1 real estate team in the United States. Nobody's even freaking close to you. You got a 4.9 rating out of 5 with all the transactions that we've done. You spend more in marketing than anybody else. Your reputation is far and away better than anybody out there. So again, really point that out and really drive that home. We always connect with them, and you can see that that's one of the things as far as caring personality, good listener, because it depends on their personality type. But the number one thing they say is reputation is key to them. So again, really drive home the part of place as far as what your track record is, how we're located across 225 different teams across the United States and in 4 other countries. That's a huge selling tool for you. And then how we behave in the shift. One of the things that when you go through a shift is any market share you gain, you rarely lose any of it. And then also anything that you lose in a shift, you rarely get it back. So if you think about that, the stakes are pretty high right now as far as reaching out to folks, making certain we're getting as much market share as possible, and then also being accountable in what we're doing. And that's just keeping track of our numbers, our dials, our follow-up, and using our technology. One of the great things what we've got with Brivity is the way to track that. And that's also our focused approach on skill development. Because the better we get at scripts, the more appointments we're going to have, we're going to be able to close more. This is that link to the slide deck, and there are about 100 different slides. And of course, I didn't cover all of them, but lots of information on there if you guys want to go back to get that. And again, I'll can send that out to an email for everybody too. Now, one of the things I want you guys to think about is use your allied resources like your vendors. You guys have got contractors, you have got title companies, you've got inspectors, you've got painters, you've got plumbers, you've got lawn care people, you've got cleaners. Ask them as far as, who do they know that's looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate? Utilize them. Okay, you're referring them business, ask them to do the same for you. They can also give you gift cards, for layaways. If you don't know anybody, maybe they deal with a lot of other agents, like maybe a mortgage company that you deal with. Well, we're going to be doing a giveaway, an event, and how about you giving us a gift card then for a drawing? And it could be a reverse bold 100 where they're calling into the place to do it. It could be also that you're doing an online drawing. So there's a lot of different ways you can utilize that. And if they want to come in and speak at some of your events, such as if it's a first-time homebuyer seminar, if it's they want to provide gifts for a pop by, where you're popping by and dropping off something. And, a great one Tuesday would have been for Mardi Gras beads. Really inexpensive. Stop by and tell them happy Mardi Gras and drop off some beads, see how they're doing. But any of those kind of things are absolutely great, but build your allied resources where they're actually helping you grow your business. The other part is our systems and accountability we have with Brivity reporting, Mojo reporting, team accountability meetings, our weekly review with our partners, and also our 411 trackers. I mean, you've got all these different tools right now where you can track everything, which is absolutely fantastic. Okay. And then lean into the partnerships of others in place. We have got different spaces now coming on board and certifications. Utilize these to develop your skills. And these different spaces we've got, are luxury. They've also got new construction, but anything like that you can really lean into to concentrate on what you want to be an expert at is going to really be key. And remember, seek world records, not gold medals. Michael Phelps could not remember how many medals he won at a different Olympics when we went to Belt Howe last year. But he could remember his times for every race and if he beat a world record or not, because that's what he was focused on. He was focused on what was his performance, not if he got an award for it. And that's what we need to be focused on too, is how well are we performing as individuals and not just closing a transaction. Because by doing that, we're going to make a wow impression to our clients, and they're going to keep coming back again and again and again. So, comments, questions, shares, anybody?
Yeah, I mean, I think the numbers of how people make decisions is really important. So I think that's, it's not necessarily just by feel, but I would say, trusting those first numbers about how people really do engage the first person, even though they're not enthusiastic at the beginning. And so I think that's probably where I get tricked quite a bit.
Good share. Who else?
Hey, Wes, one of the things I noticed was that people are getting out looking at homes and wanting to buy, but it was taking a little bit longer, and I was kind of, I guess, for lack of a better word, getting frustrated, but you kind of broke it down. People are paying double per month for the same home we paid much less for just a few months ago. So, so they are going to be more selective. So I think that provides clarity with our buyers.
Absolutely. And I want you guys to remember the knock program we got too. It's a great program where they can go ahead and buy their home now and sell their other home later. 67% of the people in Tennessee own a home that they've got to sell. So utilize that program. We just used it for one that RJ closed from the buyer side, and it went very smoothly. Great service levels. It's called Knock, Knock.
Is that through Place Mortgage?
No, they're a separate lender, but I'll send you the information on it. But you have to be certified to use it, and they've got it in different states too. So if they're selling here and buying there, they can go ahead and buy in that state and then sell their home here. Or if they're selling in that state and moving here, they can go ahead and buy the home here so they don't miss out on that perfect home, and they don't have to worry about that sales contingency.
Cool. Thank you.
So
Hey, Wes.
go ahead. Preston.
So one thing that resonated with me, what you said was like, focus on the performance, not just like, did you get the close or did I set the appointment? Because whenever you close or whenever you set that appointment, there's always something that you could do better. There's always that 5% that you can always do something better. And there's always stuff that you did right too, that you can write down or remember. So I like when you said focus on the performance.
No, that's absolutely right. And have you guys started reading the book, Uncommon Hospitality yet? Because the author is going to be a Bill Howe. And
Nice.
we talk about, and we should start something like this too. It's called, anytime they would go kind of above and beyond, they would call it like, man, that was really legendary what you did. So they started talking about those little tasks as being, hey, I just created a legend. So I thought that was really kind of cool as far as little legends that we create. Like he gave example in the book where a real estate agent, the people that were buying the home were going to tear it down or do major renovations. So she actually took the door jamb out where the owners had marked how tall their kids were on that door jamb and presented that to them for a present. And of course, that was really cool. And, she got really emotional about it too, because it did mean so much, but they thought about what does that really mean to them as far as the gift. It doesn't have to be expensive because that was a zero cost item. Okay. But yeah, focusing on the performance and focusing on them as far as, how can we do those kind of great things, which just differentiates. Great point, Preston. Any other shares or observations or ahas that you came across with seeing those numbers come up? All right, guys, I'm going to let you guys go. You guys have a great day, great weekend. Just a reminder, Chris is sharing our numbers tomorrow. Make sure you're on the call. Always brings value with that. So y'all have a great day.
Thank you, Wes.
See y'all.
Power up, power up. Let's go.
Power up.